So one of the
Cool.
things that
Well,
happened in the announcement that Newsweek actually picked up on was when they announced Dallin H. Oaks as the president of the church. Elder Stevenson accidentally called him Dallas Harris Oaks, and
As the cold winds of winter sweep in, there's nothing like the warmth of a comforting cup to help you slow down and unwind. This is the season. Let Postum be your cozy companion. Made from roasted grains, Postum is caffeine free and rich with a smooth roasted flavor. It's the perfect drink for those quiet, chilly mornings. Whether you're curled up with a good book, sharing a laugh with loved ones, or simply watching the snow fall outside, a cup of Postum is the moment you have been waiting for.
hello everybody, and welcome to This Week in Mormons.
I love it, Matt. I love that. That was good.
I don't know if you've noticed this, Melissa, but the last couple episodes we haven't had the nice guitar thing that the International Daniels wrote for us,
Yeah, it's made me
and
sad.
yeah, and I haven't heard the Postum thing, so I'm like, I got to do something super exciting to get us excited for This Week in
In
Mormons.
Mormons, sometimes you come up with a little song you could sing.
And I wonder if Melissa, it's okay for me to now embrace the Mormons aspect of This Week in Mormons.
I mean, I don't think we've had any exact change by our new prophet saying, hey, get
Em-
rid of all that. But it wasn't doctrine. It was just like what President Nelson wanted. So if you wanted to disrespect his entire life's work by doing that, I think you're fine to do that. It's your choice.
Well, there was a listener. We'll come back to some other talk in a second, but there was a listener that commented specifically on this in our predictions, and it was at Mountaintop 7305 says, "You all should go do a research on reverence. No wonder so many people are questioning our leadership when you disrespect them." And then some emoji that I don't know what the face means.
Ouch. Are we disrespectful?
I mean, I think what I said wasn't very reverent, and I hope that nobody leaves the church because I said, let's embrace the Mormons thing again. Because who am I, Melissa? I'm not a voice of the church.
Yeah, you're not. Also, you're barely a voice of the podcast. I mean, really, Matt. Here's the
Right.
thing. I don't think you have the power to make people leave the church. I think that's everybody's own decision. I think there's a difference between irreverent and disrespectful of leaders. Obviously, we're flippant, we're fun. This is the space for us to do that. We don't raise our hands and say all of our opinions everywhere we go all the time. That's kind of what this space is for. But a little irreverence doesn't mean that we don't have respect and, great adoration and even reverence, which is different than reverence, but reverence for our leaders.
I like that. That's a good word, Melissa. Reverence.
Thank you.
It's spelled actually exactly the same as
Exactly the
reverence.
same spelling. Yeah. Sometimes you could put a hyphen in it if you want to, but not required.
I do think I reject the premise of the person's comment because I think that
Yeah.
you can show disrespect. No, I actually don't think that we show disrespect to the leaders of the church, but I actually think you can be disrespectful, and that doesn't lead to people questioning leadership. Like, if your leadership is dependent on everybody showing you respect all of the time, then there's a question of how your leadership, like whether you're really a leader, right? Because
Yeah.
leaders sometimes do things that are going to cause people to be disrespectful, and I hope you still follow a leader. Like, I don't know. I don't think you have to. I don't think you have to show respect to leaders all the time in order for people to not question them.
I think you are a very good example of that. But I actually think about the way that people treat the presidents of the United States, not just President Trump, but the same thing people did with President Biden.
Yeah.
Just because you might have something to say that, I don't know, that everybody doesn't agree with doesn't mean that you're being disrespectful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. Everyone has different views on these things, and that's fine.
yeah, totally fine. Totally fine.
So,
Anything else
Melissa,
yeah, go ahead.
I don't want to open the rest of the mailbag yet because I know that October is the month of your favorite holiday, and so
Halloween.
yeah, as the weather changes and I get cold, and I actually hate Halloween. It's one of my most hated holidays. I just think I hate this, but Melissa loves this.
I love Halloween. You know why I think I like Halloween is because I love summer so much. And fall sort of makes me sad because it's like, oh, we're leaving summer. But there is just this little light in the middle of fall called Halloween that you're able to just kind of be like, farewell to summer. And you can embrace something without embracing the coldness. Matt, you don't like candy. You don't
No.
like parties. You don't like scaring people. You don't like dressing up. You don't like fun.
I do like fun. So this
You
is
do?
what's so around this time of year, right? The students come back, I go back to work, and then I get sick. I've had COVID, I think, the last week. I
Oh,
don't know what it
yeah.
is, but it feels like COVID. And so then,
Everybody's getting sick right now. Yeah.
and when they say let's have candy, I'm like, candy just makes the sick last longer. And then
Matt,
candy's really
do you not have a good relationship with candy? What are you talking about? Candy makes the sickness last longer.
my body doesn't heal so fast when I'm eating candy. I have to eat like fruits and vegetables and stuff like that to get the sickness to
Wow.
go away. Yeah, I have no self-control when it comes to candy.
Mm.
So if there's candy, I eat too much of it. So I don't like that part of it. And then I really hate dressing up. I hate it so much. And there's been some angst at BYU Idaho from the spring into the fall. And so we got an email from like the college deans that are like, we're going to try and make everyone feel happy again. And what we're going to do is just have an amazing Halloween celebration. And we want everyone to dress up. And we were going to have prizes for who has the best costume. And so
Love it.
my wife is the math department all wants to dress up as pirates, and my wife's like trying to find a pirate costume, but she really just looks like a gypsy when she dresses up like a pirate. And
I love a
neither
good gypsy at BYU Idaho. I think that's a great thing. Matt, you've never sounded more like an old man. What is this fuddy-duddiness about
I've
an absolutely wonderful time of year?
I've never liked dressing up. I don't understand it at all. It makes no sense to
Yeah.
me. Yeah, so it's just a
We have a work dress up going on too. And it wasn't mine to this year I didn't want to be the person who was like, that's a terrible idea, but it's a terrible idea. Every teacher in the high school is dressing up as Lord of the Rings. Here's
oh,
why it's a
see?
bad idea. Lord of the Rings, super outdated. Like, it's
Yeah.
not current. Number two, we look like we're going to a Renaissance fair. Like, it's just not. It's just
Somebody has a
not.
food truck with turkey legs outside the high school. Oh
Anyways,
man.
guess what? I'm joining in. Last year we did the Taylor Swift eras. Like, there's
Oh,
always something, and I'm happy to play a part. But yeah, you can just be the
you
party
know,
pooper if you want to.
the one time we had this would be like 10, 15 years ago, there was a ward trunk or treat, and I was all excited to dress up. I put on an adult brief, and then I had
Stop it,
a binky from my daughter,
Matt.
and I was like, I'm just gonna go as a baby. And my
To the
whole
ward trunk or treat.
yeah, that's all I had on. And my family was like, "No, Dad, you can't do this." So then we do dress up at Easter time. We made these like costumes that we wear at Easter time. So we do dress up at Easter for our Passover feast. So I had that, and so I put that on and went as like Moses or Jethro or something like that. But it's like the costumes I want to do, nobody ever lets me dress up that way. I couldn't do that at BYU Idaho, just show up in like an adult brief and a pacifier.
No,
Right.
no, that's correct.
So then what's the point? Why even do it at all if I can't dress up as what I want to dress up as? Right. So
Okay. All right. Well, this has been delightful banter. Why don't you jump to the mailbag?
wait, one last thing. Everyone has to
Okay.
know, if they go to your house on Halloween, what will you guys be doing in the driveway, Melissa?
We might do hot dogs this year. We
Yeah.
might do scones.
Uh-huh.
We might do, I don't know. It depends. I don't really know what we're going to do this year. I haven't planned that far ahead yet, but we'll do something. It'll be fun.
I like that you guys cook food in your driveway. That's because you don't live in the frozen tundra of Rexburg where there'll be snow on the ground on Halloween.
Sometimes there's snow on the ground on Halloween, but you just build a fire.
Oh, and you sit outside in the freezing cold and cook food?
Yeah, around the fire. You bet.
Yeah. Okay. I don't understand
Okay.
these holidays.
That's okay. You don't have to.
One year for Thanksgiving, we decided we would fry a turkey. It
Yeah.
was so cold, right? You got to have the turkey fryer outside and all of that stuff. It was so cold, like the propane never heated the oil up. It took 4 or 5 hours to get the oil just like warm. We never got the oil hot enough to deep fry the turkey. And I was like, these holidays were not made for people who live in Rexburg, Idaho. They were made for people who
Okay.
live in.
Most people put the fryer in their garage, and then you can keep yourself warm.
Oh, okay. Well, we could try that.
Yeah, try that.
All right, let's open the mailbag.
Okay.
So, at Susan Holder 3944 made this prediction for General Conference.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll go back to 3-hour church.
Yeah. What would be the point of that at Susan Holder? Thank you for writing in.
More
and I know
church,
you're
Melissa. What else are you going to do on Sunday besides go to church? 3-hour church was grand.
okay. Thank you.
You wanted 1-hour
Yes,
church.
I
Okay.
do. I want 1-hour church. That is what I want.
That's not happening. At
Okay.
Charles Mendeley 9823 said, my prediction, since the number of missionaries will go down due to demographics, like Americans having fewer children, I predict longer missions, 2.5 years for men and 2 years for women. They're all
I
the
feel like,
opposite of you.
yeah, everybody's just trolling me right now. They just want to do the opposite of what I think.
The
Okay,
things you
listen.
want are the opposite of what people want, Melissa.
No, it's not what they want. It's just what they predict. Okay.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I'm happy to admit that none of my predictions happened. None of my grand ideas were put into place. And most of them were just for fun. But the part that really disappoints me is that your predictions did happen. You predicted no new temples. You're the only person who did that.
I know. I had inside information, Melissa.
You did?
I had inside information on all of my predictions.
Well, that's called cheating. You didn't win then.
I didn't win. Right.
Wait,
And
the
they were
second
kind of,
coming, did you have inside information on your prediction that the second coming
yes.
would happen? Okay.
You might not have noticed, but we could be in the end times right now.
I didn't notice.
Did I predict the second coming? I just said it was more
You did.
likely than 1-hour church.
You did. That's what you said.
Yeah, I didn't predict that happening. All right,
Okay.
let's get to the quick clip. Melissa, we have a new first presidency this week.
I did hear about that. Now, I didn't hear about it when everybody else did because I was, again,
Really?
at work. It was a busy day. In fact, it wasn't until I was at dinner that night. We went out to eat and we were at kind of like a sports bar and there was a TV going. And all of a sudden it flashed up on the TV while I was out at dinner. And I was like, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. They made the announcement.
Yeah.
And I was surprised.
Well, because I'm at BYU, Idaho, not only did I know the announcement was coming far in advance, but we watched it live in class because that's what we do at
that's
BYU,
awesome.
Idaho. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
So one of the things that happened in the announcement that Newsweek actually picked up on was when they announced Dallin H. Oaks as the president of the church, Elder Stevenson accidentally called him Dallas Harris Oaks. And so
they sustained him as the wrong name, or they were just making an announcement.
they were just announcing. Yeah, they weren't sustaining him. They were just announcing the new president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Dallas Harris Oaks.
That's funny.
And there were some sideways glances, and nobody knew, should we chuckle at this? Should we not chuckle at this?
Because he didn't realize he'd made the mistake.
And then somebody did say, is his name really Dallas? And Dallin is short, like a nickname? And we're like, no, he just made a mistake. So everyone who wasn't expecting it, Dallin H. Oaks is now the president of the church. And the first counselor is Henry B. Eyring, which nobody was predicting that. Did you predict that?
No, I did not think he would stay in the first presidency.
And then Elder Christofferson was called as the second counselor.
However, did you not think that Henry B. Eyring looked more healthy at this general conference than he has in past years?
I thought he looked exactly the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't watch it. I just listened to it. So I'm maybe not sure.
He was seated in a chair the whole time. He also didn't stand up this conference like he does normally.
Okay.
And did you know that Elder Christofferson's brother is he's a gay man. He's been out for a long time.
Yeah, this is why I'm super excited about Elder Christofferson in the first presidency. Because,
How old do you think he is?
Elder Christofferson? 68?
80. He's in his 80s.
He's 80? Is he really?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. Well, anyway, his brother, Tom Christofferson, I think he is a great advocate for both the church and for queer people. And I think that Elder Christofferson is going to be a great person to have in the first presidency. I know a lot of queer people are maybe just a little bit like concerned or on edge about some of the decisions that President Oaks will make as the prophet. And I think him putting Christopherson in the first presidency signals like, hey, I'm open to all kinds of input and conversations, and I'm not against anybody. And I think that was a good move. And I also think it was probably, obviously directed by the Lord. So
So I've got some interesting facts about Dallin H. Oaks that you might not know.
okay.
His father died of tuberculosis when he was only 7 years old. He and his siblings were raised by their maternal grandparents for the next couple of years, while their mother was at Columbia University earning her master's degree.
He
This would
talked
be in
about
like
it in general conference, but not specifically like that.
the 1930s.
Yeah, that's crazy.
His mom was getting a master's degree at Columbia University at a time when that didn't really happen.
Yeah, that's cool.
Do you know what instrument he played in 8th grade?
Wait, he was in Imagine Dragons, the band? I didn't know that. No.
He was in
What
the
band he was
Payson.
in?
He was in the Payson Summer Band.
Oh, the Payson Summer Band. I'm going to guess he played the trumpet.
Oboe.
Oboe.
hmm
Unusual choice. Okay.
Did you know that he was the president of BYU?
Yeah, I did know that. Now, everybody knew that. And if you're about to tell me he was on the Utah Supreme Court, yes, everybody knew that too.
Did you know that our mother would babysit his daughter while he was president at BYU?
Is that true?
Yeah, and you know Jenny Oaks Baker?
Yeah.
So our parents lived in their ward while they were students at BYU,
Uh-huh.
and our mom would babysit Jenny Oaks Baker while
Well, that's a fun fact.
yeah, see? I had to find something else other than the Supreme Court thing.
Good job. Good job.
Did you know that he and Russell M. Nelson were sustained as the members of the Quorum of the 12 on the same day?
Yeah, Matt.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I'm
Do you
trying
have
to find
anything else?
No, all that article had was those even less interesting things than the ones that I did. Things I shared were the most interesting, and
Did you
perhaps
know that he sometimes eats cereal for breakfast? Come on.
I don't know. Maybe our listeners didn't know any of these fun facts about Dallin H. Oaks.
Okay, well, I have an article from Religion Unplugged that talks about how President Oaks is inheriting a church that is much more diverse than the church that even President Nelson inherited. For example, did you know that you probably did know that most of the church is not within the United States? Most of the
Yeah.
church is outside of the population of the church. But did you know that only like 43% of Utahns are members of the church? It's really not a Utah church anymore.
Yeah, I knew that.
Okay.
That
Is
doesn't.
this the podcast where you say things I already know and I say things you already know?
I'm just trying to get back at you. I'm just like, how dare you, Melissa? Make
Yeah.
fun of.
Well, I think the point is that the church is very different demographically, age-wise, population-wise, where it is in the world-wise, and that President Oaks has a different job to handle than President Nelson did in a lot of ways.
What is the most common language spoken in the church? The majority of church members speak which language?
Portuguese?
Spanish.
I was going to say Spanish, but then that felt too obvious.
It's not
But
English
yeah,
anymore.
yeah,
So
I think that makes sense.
imagine being sustained as the president of the church that you don't speak the language that the majority of the church members speak.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. Yeah, that's
hmm
interesting.
Yeah. So then
Okay.
that way it's also more diverse.
Yeah, you're right.
Now, it's possible that I'm wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. But if I am wrong, I know that a listener is going to write in and tell me I was wrong and to correct my misinformation. And I'll be happy to do that. That's one of my favorite things to do is say,
I
I was
know.
wrong about that. It doesn't hurt my
Yeah.
feelings at all. But I am
Okay.
pretty sure I'm right about that.
Okay.
There's a news story about Latter-day Saint meeting houses in New Zealand and New Caledonia that have caught on fire. They're not sure
hmm
the cause of them. It could be vandalism, but Kurt and I were texting a little bit about how this really is the year of the anti-Mormon, and maybe people are targeting our churches around the world. And so this could be another one of these where like vandals are burning our churches in New Zealand. You say no?
Okay. I don't, if that is true, I still don't jump to then that means that this is the year of the anti-Mormon.
But
Yeah.
why? There's so many things that are happening like anti-Mormon this year. including burning down these churches in New Zealand. First, it's in Michigan, then it's in New Zealand, then in New Caledonia. There was a mudslide in Provo. Somebody up there needs to look into that, like how that happened.
Stop it. Stop it. Okay.
Someone needs to look into that, Melissa.
Someone needs to look into the mudslide. Do you know what else they need to look into? BYU losing. This is anti-Mormon. Anti.
BYU has not lost yet.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, while we are talking about the Grand, I've been saying it Grand Blanc, but I heard somebody say Grand Blanc, so I don't know. Grand Blanc, Michigan shooting.
How about this? Grand Blanc.
That's
or
what I.
Grand Blanc.
Grand Blanc. I think we go with Grand Blanc. The church news did put out a story about how the members of the church over there in Michigan have been coping in the weeks since the tragedy. And it was nice. And I think what the article most mentioned is how resilient they are, how this is like becoming a defining way for them to actually recommit to their faith. But something that is happening over there that I didn't know, it's that counselors so that the church itself is providing grief counselors to the members there.
Oh.
And the church has, as part of family services, something called psychological first aid that they send out for crises around the world, not just LDS crises. Have you ever heard of this?
No, I have not. I mean, it doesn't
Yeah.
surprise me that it exists, but I haven't heard of it.
Same. Yeah. I thought that was a cool little bit of information. This is just another example. The church does so many things and has so many programs that we just don't know anything about. They're rendering aid of all kinds all the time. We rarely hear about it.
Yeah, I agree. Melissa, do you want to mention a retraction that you want to make?
Yeah. We did get an email from a listener. I'm just going to read it to you. Her name's Erin. She wrote a nice email talking about how much she enjoys the podcast, but she did say a retraction should be issued for saying, which I said, that the shooter in Michigan asked people if they worshiped Jesus Christ or Joseph Smith before shooting them. This is the same type of misinformation that came out after Columbine, and it's just not true. That was from Erin. Thank you, Erin. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. I do have to say, before I reported this, I did ask my AI, perplexity.ai, to verify the story for me, and it gave me 3 sources. One of those was KSL News. One of them, let's be fair, was a TikTok from a teenager. Now, a lot of teenagers, I think this is something kind of new that's been happening too. A lot of teenagers in the word in Grand Blanc, a lot of teenagers. Have you noticed all of the TikTok videos that they put out documenting their personal experiences happening there?
I'm not quite sure what TikTok is.
Okay, great. Okay.
I haven't seen anything
Anyways,
on TikTok.
one of the links that Perplexity sent me to was one of those videos from a teenager. So I did have 3 different sources verifying that story. And this was immediately after the shooting.
Oh.
I agree. It's hard to get good information in that time period.
Yeah.
In the time since, I went back and looked at that KSL article, and they did retract the part where they said that the shooter asked that question. And instead, they just said the shooter asked a question and didn't specifically state what it was. So I think it's safe to say we don't 100% know that was true. So, yeah, I'm happy to say that we don't 100% know that was true. And you know what? Thanks, Erin, so much for writing us in. Yeah, we don't want to give bad information, especially about something that's so important. And also, we just like it when you write in general. So thank you.
I like that our listeners keep us on track. I will say this: the morning of the shooting, I have a son that's all over Instagram and all of that stuff. And so he was reading me all the stuff he was seeing on social media. And so then when I look for news, I don't like to go to like national news sources or to because there's a lot of just commentary that happened on those. So I went on YouTube just looking for like a local news station. And so I was watching this local news station and they were talking. There was a guy, they saw him running away from the church building. And so then they started asking him questions and you could see he still had blood on his collar.
Oh, boy.
And he was just answering questions from this news person. And so the story that I had was so different from like the national narrative that was going on that it was sort of interesting because it's like in the early days, you really don't know. There's nobody there like sifting through all the information, saying what's real and what's not real. And so in some ways, when something's new like that, you don't really have all the facts, right? It takes a while for
Right.
people to kind of sift through and figure out. But yeah, like
Yeah.
I remember talking to people and I was like, they would tell me something and I was like, that's so different than what this man had said that was on this local news station.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I agree. Did you notice also this week that the Deseret News put out something about how churches, in light of what happened in Michigan, are trying to decide how they want to handle safety? Not just our church, although our church is, but churches in general are like, hey, is this something we need to take a bigger look at? We talked about this a little bit, and I did like what you had to say, which was basically like, I want us to still just be welcoming and open to everyone.
yeah.
Um,
That was the news story from Maria Monchos, right? In the Deseret News.
Uh-huh. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah. I mean, I understand why people think about it, but I'm still, I keep my same exact position on this.
I do not want, for example, metal detectors as I walk into church. I don't want people assigned, especially like I've heard that some wards are thinking about like assigning elders quorum to patrol or to make sure that things are safe. I don't feel comfortable giving that job to someone else. They deserve to come to church and just be able to worship just like anyone else. I don't want to have, this sounds weird, but I don't want to have safety drills. Um,
No, no.
I, yeah,
By the way,
but
we're
I,
not
I,
really
I don't
equipped
want
to
people
do
to
that.
feel unsafe. I don't want people to not come because they don't feel it's safe. I think
Well,
we kind of feel the same way.
yeah, you can also, there's plenty of wards that stream the church services on YouTube. If you really don't feel safe at church, you can watch it on YouTube or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Melissa, are you
Yeah,
going to go
I
back to
think.
telling us about,
Oh, go ahead.
are you going to tell us about Tad Callister?
Oh, yeah. Did you know Ted Callister? He's an emeritus general authority.
I didn't know him, but he wrote, everybody I knew talked about him all the time.
Yeah, he wrote was it the Infinite
He wrote a
Atonement?
book.
Anyways, Tad
Hmm.
Callister passed away. He wrote more than one book, but that was the book that I first read of his that really made a difference in my life, quite honestly.
You liked that
Um,
book?
I did at the time that it came out, or is it the Infinite Atonement? Yeah,
Yeah, it's the
I
Infinite
really liked
Atonement.
it. Yeah, I really liked it when it came out. I haven't read it for, maybe a decade. But I did really appreciate the way that he framed things, especially atonement things. I thought it was lovely. I wasn't able to tell in any of the news stories how he passed away, but he was 79. Yeah, did you have anything you wanted to add about that?
He also wrote some stuff about the Constitution towards the end of his life. Um, I think
It
that a
became a
lot of
little more
people,
political.
I just think a lot of people really, really liked his book on the atonement, and I just didn't love it that much. And
Oh
whenever
yeah.
I would say that, people would be like, "How dare you?" And I'm like, "That's whatever." Like, the atonement of Jesus Christ is something that we can all kind of interpret ourselves and think about ourselves and have our own feelings about it. And if he feels about it a way different than what I feel about it, I think it's okay.
It's totally okay. It's just the same way that I really like Brad Wilcox takes on grace, but not everybody does. And
Yeah,
that's fine too. Yeah.
yeah. But it is interesting, right? He dies at 79, and some people in the world would say, well, 79, that's kind of an age where we would expect people to pass away. And in our church leadership, we're like, or that's young to be in the first presidency.
It's true. It's true.
Hey, do you remember when we interviewed Sahar on the podcast? She's a Palestinian who teaches at BYU, Idaho.
I do. I learned so much from her.
So there is a LDS women's conference happening in Blackfoot, Idaho, and she's going to be the keynote speaker. I think that now that there's been a peace deal signed and it's not such a hot button issue in the United States, I think that everybody should take some time either to read her book or to listen to her speak or to watch the podcast interview we did. She has very interesting, important perspective. She's a Palestinian who joined the
Mhm.
church, and she does a great job of explaining what it means to be a Palestinian. She has very different feelings about what's happening with the peace deal in the Middle East, I would imagine, than most people in the United States. And so it's really valuable to hear somebody who's an active member of the church, who's also Palestinian, talk about her perspective of those things. So if you get a chance to go to Blackfoot or to listen to the interview we did on the podcast, I strongly recommend listening to Sahar.
Yeah, and we'll include links to both of those. Kind of a
Yeah.
funny side story, Matt. Over fall break, my husband and I went on a cruise down to Mexico, and we ran into a couple there that were from California, and we were just kind of getting to know them. And they told us that they were going to be going on another cruise in January, and that they were supposed to, before they it's like a cruise from Egypt. They were supposed to go to Jerusalem first, and they weren't members of the church or religious at all, but they had Jewish backgrounds. And they were like, we would really love to go to Jerusalem we don't know anything about Jerusalem. We'd really love to go there. But I mean, obviously we can't go because of all the conflicts that are happening over there. But we just keep hoping that, by January we'll be able to go there. And me and my husband were like, good luck. There's no way peace is going to be started over there. And it was just kind of funny, the timing of all of that. So
now they can go on their cruise there.
Now they can go. Yep.
They actually could have gone to Jerusalem even when all that conflict was happening. They kept Jerusalem safe. They could have gone there.
I don't think they felt that way.
Did I tell you when we went to Jerusalem, there was like a terrorist attack when we were there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were fine with it.
Yeah, we're Americans. They keep us safe. So like all of the Jewish people were being separated from all of the Palestinians, and they were all afraid of us, but we're just walking around. There's like soldiers there with their like rifles like at attention, and we're like, "Can you help us find the garden tomb?" And they wouldn't respond to me. I'm like, who's in charge here? Who's in charge? We want to see the garden tomb. And this guy's like, just points. He's like, go there. Get out of our way. Like, thank you.
Thank you.
The only place we could eat was a Jerusalem fried chicken, because a lot of the other places were closed because of the terrorist attack. Anyhow, if you're an American, you can go around the world. It's pretty safe for you to be an American.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. If you're from Cache Valley, like I am, Cache Valley, Utah, I just wanted to let local Utah Cache Valley people know that there is going to be at the Utah Theater, which is like a refurbished old-fashioned theater. They're going to all November long be playing T.C. Christensen films. And some of these I've never seen before. And there's like a whole bunch all November long. So if you want to go see his films in the Utah Theater, it's kind of a fun experience to go to the Utah Theater. So just thought I'd throw that out there for those that are interested.
It should be called the Jason Wade Fest, because he's in half of T.C. Christensen's movies. Speaking of which, we interviewed Jason Wade on the podcast.
Jason Wade. That was such a fun interview. He was so alive. Is that the right word?
Yeah, he's an energetic
so much
fellow.
Energy. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to toot our own horn too much, but we've done so many great interviews. Listeners, if you haven't caught up on those, you really should go back and enjoy those.
Check them out. Also, did Jason Wade do Love Kennedy? Is Love Kennedy on the list of the? And
I haven't gone all the way through it, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Melissa, I know that you are as big a Ute fan as there is in the United States of America. And BYU is playing University of Utah this weekend in football at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. And the big news is Fox Big Noon Kickoff is going to be televised from Lavelle Edwards Stadium.
This is so exciting.
Do you ever watch Fox Big Noon Kickoff?
Never. Not one time I ever.
You've got Matt Leinart on there. You've got Brady Quinn. You've got Urban Meyer. And they travel around the country. And wherever there's the big football game going on, they do their show there. And the fans can come into the crowd and they can cheer and yell for their team. And then it's a big deal. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I wonder if the Utes will be as disrespectful as the other teams they've played that shout F the Mormons.
I don't think
they might. They might.
At BYU.
Love you, Utes. But yeah, they like to be controversial. And if they know it's going to be on TV.
Interesting. Well, speaking of, so I was talking about how it's like anti-Mormon year, right? This story is there's a man who put on social media that he was going to kill anybody wearing Utah Ute red at the football game. He put it on Twitter. Yeah. And then somebody said, hey, you shouldn't say those sorts of things. And he's like, I stand by it. Anybody wearing Ute stuff is going to get shot at the football game. And he got arrested. He's in Emory County Jail. Yeah.
Who is this guy? Hold on. Let me click on the links in the show notes.
If you want to.
I just wanted to see if he is young.
He's a BYU fan.
Uh-huh.
A young white BYU. That's surprising. That doesn't describe very many. So I'm just saying, like, on the one hand, Ute fans can be disrespectful, but sometimes BYU fans can take it a little bit too far as well. Like,
yeah, listen, anything's fair in a rivalry.
It's just a football game, right? I personally don't think
it's a rivalry. It's not just a football game, Matt. It's who is the best at everything. This is what this determines.
Do you know what we never do is the rivalry game is like gymnastics, right? Or the
Right.
rival because Utah always wins in gymnastics compared to
Right.
BYU. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's football. Football's
Tennis,
where we have to
golf,
decide it. Yeah.
cross
It won't be
country. We don't do any of
basketball
those
this
things.
year, right?
Yeah.
BYU's going to be great. Who do you think
Hey,
will win this game, Melissa?
wait, I don't know. I haven't been following football at all, but guess what? I have been
Okay.
following Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
I actually watched him play and he was so good.
Yeah.
I mean, and I was really happy that I knew who he was and I knew who his team was. But
Yeah.
actually watching him play quarterback, I was blown away. It was so fun. Also, he's just delightful with his like full diamond necklace that he wears while he plays. What a look. He couldn't look more Utah with his like little curly mullet. And then he's got this huge bling. It was fun. Oh, it was so fun.
Want to hear my favorite Jackson Dart story?
Sure.
So Eli Manning used to be the quarterback for the New York Giants, and Eli Manning's a big name. So, when Jackson Dart gets drafted, Eli says to him, "Hey, anything you need, let me know." So Jackson Dart, like within a couple weeks after Eli says that to him, calls Eli on the phone and says, "Hey, there's this restaurant in New York City that you like have to get 6 months on the list to get reservations. They only allow like 10 people in the restaurant at a time." He's like, "I've got some family in town. We'd really love to get into that restaurant. Can you get us in?" And Eli's like, "No, that's not what I meant when I said, call me if you ever need anything."
I love it.
Isn't that great?
He's such a young kid. Like, I'll just call Eli Manning. See what he can do. I love it.
Family's in town. Eli said I could call him. Why not ask? See if he can get me in this restaurant. Hey, well, I think, Melissa, I'm a big BYU fan, and I think they're actually going to lose this game to Utah. Utah's going to beat BYU.
Okay, great.
Hey, I think it's very interesting. So BYU just announced that they're going to build a new administration building. They're tearing down the Smoot building for all of the BYU alums out there. They're tearing it down at the end of this year, and all the people in those offices are going to go someplace else, and they're going to build a brand new administration building. So in addition to building a medical school, and they're just finishing a fine arts center. They finished the music building not long ago. Now they're building an administration building. Like, as colleges and universities around the nation cut back spending, BYU is spending on building more and better and bigger stuff.
Okay.
Does that surprise you?
I don't care.
Okay.
Whatever.
All right. Fair enough.
I have no thoughts. We did just get a brand new institute building at Utah State, and that cost a pretty penny.
Yeah, so, that's huge. I watched them build that too. That's crazy. Yeah. All right.
Whatever they want to spend their money on, I don't care.
It's good to be a part of a church that has a lot of money.
Sure. Okay, our very last quick clip is that in Ethiopia, they held their first FSY conference.
Oh, that's fun. I like that.
Yeah, 68 youth went, and it was a 5-day, a week-long FSY conference. Isn't that cool?
That's really, really good.
Makes me happy for them that they get to have those experiences.
Yeah. If I remember the church in Africa, seeing all the stuff happening in the United States with the church and stuff like that, I would say, I want some of that fun stuff too. So I'm glad that we're doing it there.
Yeah. Okay, now it's time for TWIM trivia.
It's my favorite thing.
I know. I blacked out all of the questions so you couldn't peek at them on the rundown.
TWIM trivia.
Very good. This week's TWIM trivia is going to be focused on the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square, also known as the Tab Cats, previously known as the Mormon Tabernacle Choir.
Okay.
That's a mouthful. Okay,
that's a lot
here's
of
your
words.
first question. Okay. We know that the first LDS saints arrived in Utah in 1847. Your question is, what year was the Tabernacle Choir started?
I'm going to say 1848.
Oh, such a great guess, and it is incorrect. Did you know that the Tabernacle Choir started just 29 days after the pioneers arrived?
See,
also in 1847.
I thought they had to have like a tabernacle before they could start the Tabernacle Choir.
No, they didn't have to have a Tabernacle Choir first. It was founded on August 22nd, 1847. I don't know what it was originally
Here's
called.
what I
You
think
can check the
happened.
link. What
You know, like
happens?
they're walking across the plains and there's some people just singing all the time. And then there's these other people that are
Oh,
like, I wish they would just be quiet. And then
okay.
they got to the Salt Lake Valley and those people just kept singing. And they're like, here's the spot for all of the singers. You all stay here and sing to each other and we're going to go elsewhere. That's how it started. That's
Okay.
the word on the street is that's how it got started.
Okay. I think we will take that as gospel truth. Here's your
Do you,
next question.
do you ever, Melissa, when you're on like trek or like girls camp or like hikings, there's these people that are just singing the whole time and you're like, I want some peace and quiet. I don't want to hear the songs.
No, I'm the one who starts the singing.
Oh, okay.
I love to sing while we hike and walk and trek. Bleh. Okay. Here's your next question. The choir's first official recording was made in 1910. What is the name of the hymn they first recorded?
Battle Hymn of the Republic.
Good guess. You get 3 guesses. That's wrong.
We thank thee, O God, for a prophet.
Great guess. No.
Okay, 1910, 19. All creatures of
1910.
our God and King.
Oh, that's wrong.
I only had like 300 options to choose
I
from.
know. And it's a hymn I've never heard of. Let the mountains shout for joy.
Oh, you know what? That's been removed from the hymnal since 1912. They're like, wait a second here. The
Okay.
mountains shout for joy. That's not what we want to be known for. Let's find like some more classic things that could like build our reputation.
Yeah.
Mountains shout for joy. What an odd song.
Okay. Final TWIM trivia question.
Trivia.
How many albums total has the choir released?
Oh no. Oh no. 45.
More.
More than 45?
Yeah.
Oh no. Sick. Is it more than 100?
It's more than 100.
No way.
Yes. Okay. So it's kind of hard to get an exact answer because they've released more than 100 albums, but more than 200 recordings. So, like, sometimes it doesn't count as a full album, but it's released as its own album and it has like a few songs on it. But over 200 recordings, over 100 albums.
No
Isn't that
way.
crazy?
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, Melissa, I have some TWIM trivia for you.
Okay.
Okay, now you might not know this, but the Singles Ward had a sequel that went straight to DVD. It's called The Singles Second Ward.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Because we live in Rexburg, we can check these things out at the library. So
Oh, good.
we didn't
Good.
have internet for about a week, so we were just watching DVDs from the library. And, you know, that was our Sunday DVD.
Mhm.
I'm not going to give it a high rating in terms of like content quality. It's a
Sure.
very unusual show, but
Okay.
here's the
Is Kirby Hayborn in it?
Kirby Hayborn's in it, and
Yes.
he is a BYU professor of Mormon mythology. That's his specialty.
I love it.
And so at one point he's teaching a college class, and in this class there's all these people asking him questions about Mormon mythology, and they're having this nice discussion. And somebody who's a famous, I will say, TWIM adjacent, they've co-hosted TWIM in the past. Somebody who hosts TWIM from time to time was in Kirby Hayborn's class in the Singles Second Ward. So which TWIM host / co-host / TWIM adjacent host was in the Singles Ward Part 2? I know, it's hard to guess.
Was it Richie T. Stedman?
It sure was.
It really was.
Yeah. He's got long red hair, and they even call him Richie in the, yeah, it was him. You guessed, Melissa. That was good.
Well, I mean, you narrowed it down so much. TWIM adjacent, sometimes semi co-host. I was like, well, there's one person to choose from.
No, Kurt has had a lot of different people on here, like hosting it from
I know.
time to Yeah.
Yeah, but
No,
I couldn't
you're right.
remember any of their names. Okay.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Good
Okay,
job
that
on
was
TWIM
fun.
trivia,
Hey.
Melissa.
Good job on TWIM trivia. It is now time for big deal, little deal, or no deal.
I get to go first.
Okay.
This is the headline. Do Mormon, I'm so sorry I used that word. Do Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saint missions work? Is that a big deal, little deal, or no deal? 3, 2, 1. Big deal.
Deal. Okay.
I mean, this is a story where they look at the data about religiosity of members of our church over the span of their life, and they compare it to Christians in general. And they say, hey, look, religiosity of members of our church has this little bump at around 19, 20 years old. It lasts until about 25. Then there's a dip, and then it comes back
Really?
up again. Yeah.
Is that true?
That's what this article shows you.
Well, that's fantastic news. I just said it was a big deal because I know you've got a son out on a mission right now and that it's, a big focus of your life. And
Mm-hmm.
I also think it's a big deal because it's changed so much recently in how many sisters are serving missions. It is almost equal to how many, I'm just coming up with my own statistics here, but from the people that I know, females are serving missions just as much as men. And so therefore, I think it's got to be doing some good
But
for
then
them.
when they hit their 40s, Melissa, there's a dip again.
Okay.
So 40s to about 55, we've got a dip in church attendance among members of our church. But then it goes back up against once they're old. So
It's just because they don't want to bring their kids to church. It's too hard.
there was another study out there. Chris Karpowitz was one of the authors. He's a BYU professor. It showed
Okay.
that people who serve LDS missions are much more. So xenophobia would be the word for like anti people of other cultures, where you're like afraid of people of other cultures. People who serve missions in our church are much more accepting of other cultures than people who haven't served foreign missions
Yeah,
generally.
that makes sense to me. I think that's one of the best benefits is that you are far more open-minded. And also you see that people live much different young lives than you do. Like you see that
Hmm.
people just come from such different situations and circumstances. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, here's my story. I I don't really know how to say the headline in a way that makes sense, but basically, our LDS leadership, so is the
Mhm.
leadership of the LDS church representative of the world by region?
Okay.
Big deal, little deal, no deal. Three, two, one.
No
Big
deal.
deal.
Oh,
Matt, I thought you would
well,
say big deal.
you didn't tell me the answer.
The answer is sort of. Sort of. I just, when we were talking about making predictions about who would be the next apostle,
Hmm.
and do you remember what you said? Because it was quite insightful. Because I
Thank
was like, oh, people don't want it to be a white male. And you were like, well, if it's not going to be me, it doesn't matter. What did you say?
I said I've been camping at Temple Square, waiting, waiting.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I broadcast my phone number to everyone who could see it, waiting
correct.
for the call. I haven't got the call yet. I'm still waiting. No, I said local leaders are more important than Quorum of the 12 Apostles. So if you have representative in the Quorum of the 70 and the area presidency and things like that, you really
Hmm.
don't need that kind of representation in the Quorum of the 12.
Yeah, which I thought was an interesting take that I haven't heard before. And I've been thinking about it more, and I guess I think you're kind of right. I think when people look at our church at large, it's important for them to see our church as diverse since our church is diverse.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, what this study, again from Mormon Metrics, found was that in North America, we're overrepresented. So they're looking at general authorities and I want to say
Like
general authorities.
general
Like
officers of the
they
church.
don't count area authorities because those people live in those places.
Uh-huh.
And they're not. So, anyways, I've got it. 12 apostles, first presidency, presidency of the 70, and general authority 70, and other general officers. Okay.
North Americans are
America,
overrepresented.
overrepresented. Europe, overrepresented. Africa, equal.
Under. Oh,
No, equal.
oh.
5% of the overall Mormon population and 5% of the full-time Mormon clergy.
What about
Equal
Philippines?
representation. I think that's great.
I agree.
What would Philippines be? Caribbean, Oceania, Asia? Because all of those are equal.
Okay. Well,
Isn't
that
that
doesn't surprise
interesting?
me. That doesn't
No, it
surprise me.
surprises me that we have equal representation of the full-time general authorities in Oceania, Asia, and Caribbean. Equal to, I think that's great.
But where they're underrepresented would be South America.
South America and Central America,
Yeah.
very extremely underrepresented.
Yep.
Yeah. Why do you
Yep.
think that is?
There are a lot of members of the church there, and they don't make it into there's just not enough leadership positions of people from those areas, right?
So we should release some from North America and call some from Latin or
Well,
South America.
I mean, I don't think I would if you wanted equal representation, but I don't know that that's the most important thing in the church, right? I believe that the people are called of God. So this
Sure.
is this is an interesting story. There's a member of the Quorum of the 70. I don't remember his name. He's from South America, and he got a job and he moved to Nevada for like a year or two. And then after living in Nevada for a year or two, was called into the as a General Authority 70. Right. So technically, he would be counted as somebody from Nevada, even though he spent his whole life in South America.
Okay, actually, no. According to this data, they based it on where you were born,
Oh, hmm.
regardless of where you currently live. So actually, no.
Yeah.
But something that some people are saying is that people in South and Latin America, they don't stay active and thus they don't move into leadership positions as
Mm,
much.
I guess it
But I
would be
don't like
nice to
that
have
either.
the. I think it'd be nice to have the Daniels talk about that. I don't.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, yeah.
watched the. There was like 150th anniversary of the church in South America.
Hmm.
It was the choir went down to Argentina, and what I saw from there was like very, very faithful members of the church. I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot of faithful members of the church in South
Yeah.
America. If I had to guess, it's not about levels of activity.
It's
It's
just that
just
there's so many of them.
yeah, and it's maybe about the kinds of jobs that they do, right? Like
Interesting.
General
Yeah.
Authority 70s, if you say who gets called in the United States as General Authority 70s, I would say higher education is way overrepresented, right? We have a lot of doctors, lawyers, business people, business
People who make a
owners.
lot of money, thus they're
Hmm.
able to retire
Yeah.
early. And yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And you don't have as much of that in South America, right? So I
Yeah,
would
I
say
think that's a smart point.
welders, construction workers, those people are all
Business owners.
underrepresented.
Yep. Uh-huh. Yeah,
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
I
Good
think
point.
it's more about that than like the nationality.
Hey, we solved it. Check.
All right. My story is this: sleeveless garments? Sure. We want them too, say many Latter day Saint men. Big deal, little deal, no deal. Three, two, one.
It's still a
No
big
deal.
deal. It's
No.
still a big deal, Matt. Matt, here's what you don't understand about the new garments for men, okay?
Hmm.
It's not just about the shoulders being more comfortable and available. It's about the underarm not having that extra layer of fabric there that makes
Hmm.
such a difference.
Okay.
Men,
Well,
we see you. I mean, Matt doesn't, but I see you and I'm on your team. And listen, I still haven't gotten a slip, but I want one. I want
I do
a
too, by the way.
slip.
By the
I
way, I
know,
don't care
so
about
that you can wear
sleeveless
your
garments.
robe. Yeah, I know.
Do you want to know the funniest story, Melissa?
Yeah,
Okay. So I think I mentioned I haven't been feeling well. So we have no more children in the house. So I come home
correct.
from work yesterday at lunchtime and I was just exhausted. I was like, I'm taking off my work clothes. I'm just going to rest for a little bit in my underwear and my garments, right? I'm just going to rest for a little bit on my bed. And
Matt,
then
I just want you to pause and think, should I keep telling this story
no, I
before
totally
you?
should.
Okay,
I
okay,
totally
okay.
should. And then I'll put some clothes on, like after I take a nap or something like that.
Sure.
So after about 10 minutes, I hear my dog barking. I'm like, well, whatever. My dog barks all the time. Then I hear somebody walking up the stairs right
Oh,
outside of my bedroom. And I'm like, honey, is that you? I thought maybe my wife came home from work. My nephew, who goes to BYU, Idaho, had texted my wife and he was like, can I print something off at your house? And she's like, sure. And she never told me that. And so I'm just laying there and he's like, oh, hey, Uncle Matt, how are you doing? I'm like, fine. I didn't know what to say to him. Like, why are you in my house? Like, what's
yeah.
going on? I'm just like,
Sometimes I just come home and take all my clothes off in the middle of the day. It's fine.
yeah. So, anyhow, at that moment, slip garments would have been bad for me because it would have been. Then she
Okay, thank
texted me
you.
20 minutes later. I get a text from my wife. Hey, our nephew's going to come over and print some things off in about 45 minutes. I'm like, he's already here. Yeah.
I love it. Okay, here's my last story. It's the United States, okay? In the
Hmm.
United States, how important is the president of the United States faith?
Hmm.
Big deal, little deal, no deal. Three, two, one.
No
Little
deal.
deal.
You know,
Matt,
last week, all of them were big deal stories, and to me, this week, none of them are a big deal.
you're the political scientist. Why is this no deal?
Because most presidents are faking their faith anyways. Whatever they say their faith is, they don't really practice it
Oh,
anyways. It's
hot
true.
take. It is true.
Well,
Hot
so
take.
so Obama and Biden, I would say, actually was the most faithful of the presidents we've had in the last 50 years. Like Biden was a legit Catholic, like really went to mass. And Americans, if they were Republicans, didn't see that anyways. So it's like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Americans don't even really know what the president's faith is. So I can't imagine how it matters.
Okay, but just so you know, 43% of Americans say it's important that the president have some faith. They didn't ask the question, is he a Christian? They said, is it important that they are a person of faith? 43% yes. 39% don't care either way. So it's
Yeah.
kind of split, which is interesting to me.
That's actually a big change from how it used to be. I did
Yeah.
this research project work because I wrote a paper where I thought it does matter what the president's faith was. I tried to like write a
Mhm.
paper about that. So I did this survey. This would be like in the 2012s. And I was like, what is Barack Obama's faith? 20% of Americans said he was a Muslim.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. I'm like, well, that kind of ruins that paper because people don't even know. Hey, speaking of like research I'm doing, Melissa, I have
Yeah.
some friends of mine and I are doing a survey of members of the church about artificial intelligence, ideas about artificial intelligence.
Okay.
We've got around 500 responses so far. Um,
Do
and it's
you want
kind
my input?
yeah.
You can send me a survey.
Oh, okay.
I'd be happy to fill it out.
We might do that. We might send that to you.
Okay,
Um,
thanks.
but the reason I bring it up is because there's a conference happening in Salt Lake City on November 4th and 5th. You can come. It's a group called Organized Intelligence. The keynote speaker is going to be Elder Kim Clark. And one of the speakers is going to be Elder Gong of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles.
Yeah.
And people who care about faith and artificial intelligence are all going to be there presenting, and we're going to present our findings from this survey of members of the church. Next time
Yeah.
we record, I'll kind of because once I go through it, I'll have more to say about it. But if people want to register for the conference, we'll put a link in the show notes. But
Matt, I'm so excited about this conference. As soon as I found out about it, I actually bought my ticket. So I'm going.
awesome, Melissa, I'll see you there.
Yeah, you'll see me there because you're presenting. But honestly, this is a cool thing. I like that you guys are putting this together. And that it's not just about religion, but that
Yeah.
yeah, it's like an application of religion. I think it's awesome. I'm excited.
We ask people if it's okay to use AI for missionary work, and you said
Oh,
no.
the elder chatbot?
Yeah, and that
How's that
one
going?
people are kind of split on that one. The one that I could say members of the church all agree use AI for family history work,
Okay.
which I yeah.
Matt, I'm going to make a bingo card for this conference that I go to, and one of them is going to be the word elder chatbot. And if you mention it, I will be so excited. Just if you use the words elder chatbot.
I kind of want to do if Elder Gong's going to be there. I sort of want to like plant the seed of Elder Chatbot, and then I
Hmm.
imagine because he speaks after we do, he's going to be like, "That is the stupidest idea I've ever heard in my life," in a very kind of kind and loving apostolic way.
Listen, I thought it was a very stupid idea too, but then I did think about it more and I was like, actually, I guess I don't care that much as long as people know they're interacting with a chatbot. Like if it's the first thing that pops up and it just redirects you, I mean, chatbots do that all the time. That's not that big of a deal to me. That's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
But if they think it's a person and it's not, then that could be a bad thing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. We're
Anyways.
going to keep doing these surveys and see how attitudes evolve over time. Because there are about a third of the people that are like, I don't know. They have no opinion about it. And I think it's
Mm.
because people have limited experience with AI. But it'll be interesting as we know more, like how it will change.
Okay, great.
All right. Speaking of which, not at all. Let's do This Week in Mormon History.
I
We've been
love
talking about this.
history. Here we go.
Okay. 195 years ago in 1830. Oliver Cowdery signs a statement with an addendum signed by Parley P. Pratt, Peter Whitmer, and Ziba Peterson, declaring their intention to preach as missionaries to the Lamanites, to rear up a pillar as a witness where the temple of God shall be built in the glorious New Jerusalem.
I have
Do you
no
know how
idea what
many?
we're talking about.
Do you know how many people, how many Lamanites they baptized? So these four people were they left Kirtland, Ohio. No, actually they were in New York. They left New York, stopped in Kirtland, Ohio on their way to Independence, Missouri, because they were going to go teach the gospel to the Lamanites, which was
But
the Native
who were the
Americans.
Lamanites?
The Native
Oh,
Americans who lived in the Kansas territory.
okay.
Do you know how
Okay.
many Lamanites they baptized?
I don't.
Zero. They
You're
baptized
kidding.
none of them. Yeah. They were
Okay.
so excited about this mission. But what they did along the way was find a bunch of converts in Kirtland, Ohio, and establish the church in Independence, Missouri. So,
Matt, do you know what you're good at?
hmm.
Making me care about things I don't care about. You did a
Okay.
great job with that story. I might even
Thanks, Melissa.
retell it at some point. You don't know. Raise my hand
Okay.
in Sunday school and act like I know things. Watch me plagiarize you. Okay.
You're going to love this story. Now,
Okay.
I did not go through the temple 65 years ago. I was not a part, but you got to listen closely to this story. So, this is 65
Okay.
years ago. The first presidency writes a letter to Roy Disney. Roy Disney is
Disneyland.
he's the brother of Walt Disney, and he kind of runs the Disney Corporation.
Okay.
Okay, here's what they say. We have been most earnestly grateful for the use of this footage, which was a clip from the movie Fantasia.
Oh,
And
wait.
our
Is this true? They used Fantasia in the Temple film?
I have to finish reading the letter from the first presidency. Yeah.
I'm
So
sorry.
yeah.
Okay.
We have been most earnestly grateful for the use of this footage, which is a clip from Fantasia, and our need for it is urgent and will continue to be so into the future as far as we can foresee. For your information, this brief excerpt is used without identification in small, restricted instruction classes in which it introduces a discussion on the creation of the earth. The public is never invited to these classes, no publicity is ever given, and no admission charge is ever made. This most excellent footage has become inseparably a part of the brief introduction to this instruction in establishing a mood of reverence and awe for the Creator's work.
My mouth is hanging open.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was an old wives' tale.
Mm-hmm.
We actually use Fantasia. So wow, it's small restricted instruction. Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, could you imagine back in the day when you go to the temple video or whatever and it's like Fantasia? I don't think it had Mickey Mouse part in it, but it had something in it about, yeah, kind of
Crazy.
fun. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Speaking of our relationship to Hollywood, 55 years ago, this was in October of 1970, the Deseret News ceases advertising films rated X or R. So, if you opened up the Deseret News 55 years ago, there were no R-rated movies listed in. You couldn't advertise for an R-rated movie in the Deseret News or X-rated movies. I don't know how widespread it was before that they would be like, "Here's a porn movie that we're advertising in the Deseret News." But R-rated movies they stopped advertising in 1970.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Matt, you have once more made history the place to be. Well done. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
this
Thank
week in
you.
Mormon history. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. We encourage you to subscribe to This Week in Mormons on YouTube. We've got a growing presence on YouTube. And if you like this podcast, you might enjoy my other podcast called The Latter Day Lens. Of course, you can email us at contact@thisweekinmormons.com. That's how Aaron reached out to us last time. Or you can comment on the video at YouTube, and we like to read those comments if you want to give us feedback. And most of all, we just want to thank you for listening to the ever imitated, never duplicated, original Mormon News Podcast. We hope you all have a great week.